Margaret Chandler was born in 1788. She is Elizabeth and Edward's fourth daughter. When she was 9 years old, she met a girl named Susan. They became best friends. As the years passed, they grew even closer. They were in love but could not marry. There was a man by the name of John J. Jones who found interest in Margaret. However, when he proposed, she declined. Margaret's heart was already set on someone else. Susan told her that she was arranged to marry. The lucky man was Roll Jefferson. They were married in 1815. After Susan was married, Margaret didn't get to see her as much. She had eventually went on to marry John in 1818. Despite their separate lives, the girls continued to write letters to each other. In those letters, Susan wrote how miserable her marriage was. Roll was cruel to her every day. She couldn't put up with it anymore. She knew there was only one way to get rid of him. She did what had to be done to be with her love again. After Roll's death, she went back to Margaret after spending years apart. They found out they were both pregnant. Margaret convinced her husband to move Susan in, and their love was rekindled. John spent time in the study when he wasn't working. He was unaware. In 1820, the girls gave birth to their children. Margaret had a girl. She named her Gertrude. Susan had a little boy. His name was Louis. The girls were happy to raise their children together. The best part was the children got along well. They were becoming best friends themselves. Susan had a good relationship with Louis. Margaret taught Gertrude to knit, the same way her mother did her, but Gertrude was much closer with her father. Margaret and Susan were close with each other's children as well. With all the years that passed, their relationship was still kept a secret. John never found out that he had secrets of his own. He had taken an interest in their maid. Her name was Tallulah. They started an affair that ended with her getting pregnant. John feared that Margaret would find out, so he fired her. She was kicked out and left on her own. Time had passed and the children had grown. Gertrude was interested in boys, but no one seemed interested in her. Louis was the only one who was. The two were still very close. Louis was the one to make the move that changed their relationship forever. The two of them started messing around without their parents' knowledge. But it didn't last long. A man by the name of Charles Hathaway had fallen for Gertrude. Her feelings for him were mutual and things moved fast between them. Gertrude politely told Louis that they couldn't be with each other anymore. He took the news well, but deep down he was upset he couldn't be with her. He loved her. Later, in 1838, Charles and Gertrude were married. Charles moved her into his family's estate in a different city. Louis and Gertrude never stopped being friends. He eventually found someone special, but no one could compare to Gertrude. He moved to the same town as her so they could be close. As the years went on, Susan and Margaret had aged. Despite the grey hair and wrinkles, their love was still young. After John's death in 1840, they no longer had to hide their love. They spent the next 14 years together before their deaths in 1857. While Margaret was buried beside John, Susan was not far. The next story will be about Eleanor, the final child of the Chandler